Hello, everybody, and welcome to my playthrough of Total War's Warhammer 2. I'm going to be playing as the Empire, and I will be doing a tutorial for this first episode for those of you that are new to the Total War series. If you do not wish for a tutorial and you know how the game works and you're just interested in the playthrough, then please go ahead and watch my next episode, where I will continue on playing as the Empire. This is actually the first time that I've played as the Empire since they were updated and gave them the prestige and elector counts, imperial authority, and everything. So it's been a long time since I've played as them, so this will be a very fun experience for me and hopefully for you. So I will start off by explaining the general concept of the Total War games, and all the features of the campaign map and then the battle maps as well. So first off, Total War is a strategy game where you try to conquer basically the world. You will use your army, you will recruit armies and cities and armies and generals, and you will go around attacking cities and other nations to conquer them. So that's the general gist of the game. After that, you have the two different map views that you have. So this is the campaign map. So the campaign map is where you can see all the different cities and armies in the world. Cities are represented here. So for example, we've got Altdorf, Karlberg, and Weissenmund up here. The cities that you control are represented up here on the campaign map on the top right. We have Altdorf is mine, I have the red color, and all these other colors are nations that surround me. Armies are represented by these figures on the map. The banners show you who controls what city and also what army. So my banner is a griffin with a red and white checkerboard on the background, whereas, for example, the white skull with the blue background is for the Empire secessionists, who I am at war with, and so on and so forth. The territory you control is represented by the yellow barrier here, whereas red shows that I am at war with that nation, and if it is white, such as here, that means I am neutral. If I am allied with a nation, there will be a blue line between each of them. So, on your HUD, your main display here, the most important thing is that you have three important things you have to take care of. The first is your income. So your treasury here is how much money you have available to you that you can use to build buildings, recruit troops, and this will go up and down as you spend your money. You gain an income per turn, which is represented here, and if you hover over it, it actually breaks it down for you. So I'm actually earning a total of $1,759 a turn. As I recruit more troops, it'll go down because troops require a upkeep, which you have to pay per turn. If I click on my army here, just to show you how upkeep works, this army is costing me $1,131 a turn to pay for all these troops that are currently in it. The next important feature on this main HUD is the technology. So technology tree is how you basically research things that will improve your army and your nation as a whole. A technology that's available will be shown in a gold color here. So for example, state troop standards is available to me right now, whereas improved heavy weapons is not. Some technologies require that you research the previous technology for it. So I'd have to research state troop standards before improved heavy weapons. The same can be true for over here for under Imperial colleges. I can do Imperial architects once I've done the previous 4 researches. The time it takes for research to finish is represented by the number here. So this research assembly line would take 5 turns. Whereas if I were to click ahead to build architects, it would take 29 turns for me to research all the prerequisites and this technology itself. Sometimes a prerequisite is required that is not a previous research. For example, The emissary of the Prince of Altdorf down here on the left requires 7,000 gold to research that technology. Same with all the other ambassadors and purges down here. Whereas the Elector Count's research requires that I have a city. A city is a upgraded town or an upgraded city on the campaign map. And I will be talking about cities right now. So, Altdorf. This is the main city of the region of Reikland. So the other towns or settlements that are in Reikland are Ubersreich, Alhart, and Grunberg. Altdorf is the only one I currently own. The main building is the city itself. Right now it is currently a hamlet. The next upgrade would be a village. After that is a town, and then a city, and then a city-state. The more upgraded your main building tree is, the more buildings you're allowed to build in that settlement. So, for example, if I were to upgrade this to a village, it will actually unlock these next two building trees, which will allow me to build different buildings in the city. The buildings could include military structures, they could be economic structures, amongst many other things that you can build in the game. The more upgraded your city is, the more buildings you can get, the better troops, and the better off your empire will be as a whole. So constantly upgrading your cities is a very important aspect of a Total War game. The final thing that is important on this main display is the diplomacy. So diplomacy is very important because it allows you to see which of your neighbors like you and which of your neighbors do not. So as you can see, I am currently your military alliances, defensive alliances, and enemies are displayed on the bottom left here. So I'm currently at war with the Empire Secessionists, the Skull Smashers, and the Beastmen. All of these three nations could potentially send armies to attack me. At the same time, I could try to make peace with people if I'm at war with them via this screen. I can also look at making other alliances with other nations. So, for example, for Wissenland, I can try to initiate diplomacy. You can add an offer and a non-aggression pact. A non-aggression pact basically means that you promise to not attack each other.
We cannot.
They rejected it, sadly. The likelihood of a diplomacy proposal being accepted is represented here with these hands with scrolls. If it is a red color, it is not likely to succeed. If it is yellow, it's a 50-50 chance that it'll succeed. And if it's green, it's highly likely that they're going to just take it, no problem. You can improve the odds of somebody having a non-aggression pact or accepting your diplomacy if you say, for example, give them money, or if there's something else that they want in return. Sometimes they will ask you to go to war with somebody that they are at war with as well. So I'm just going to quickly try and have non-aggression pacts with as many Empire factions as possible, because I don't want to fight them. I actually want to be friends with as many of them as possible.
Greetings on behalf of the Sigma's will.
Just go around, and any treaties you have will be represented here on the middle area of the screen here. So as you can see, I just got a non-aggression pact with Ostermark.
Approach and make your offer. Empire blessing. Yes.
Stirland, they accepted.
What? Come then.
I'll try Middenland. They accepted.
Yes.
Marienburg.
Approach and make your offer, as you say.
They accepted.
So.
Nordland.
Welcome, my countrymen. Not in my
They did not.
Who called?
Hochland.
Surely an agreement will be reached.
They did not.
Sigma.
Averland.
I will listen, but my time is short. So be it.
They accepted. And the Golden Order. So here is an example of a high likelihood of success. Now, when you have a high likelihood of success, you can sometimes get away with asking for money from them. Now, we can start by asking for $300, and it's dropped it to a moderate, so I'll leave it at that. If I were to increase it, say, to $700, it now has a low chance of success. So I'll keep it at $300.
Yes.
and they accepted. And that means that I just gained $300 from doing a non-aggression pact with them, which is great for me. I can also try and do a deal with Couron, but I'd rather not because I want Marienburg to like me. Now, the things that affect a nation's attitude towards you can be represented here by the face. So, for example, Marienburg, who I want to like me, they like that I have a treaty with them, they tolerate me, and they like my war with the Skull Smashers. However, they don't like my treaty with Couron, and apparently I trespassed against them at some point. They don't like that either. So, you can see right now that their attitude toward me is at -13, which is not good, but it's going to be going up to a +60, which is good. And eventually I'll hopefully be able to get some trade agreements with my neighbors, which will improve my income per turn. So, as an army, you can move these on the campaign map by right-clicking. You can drag to see how far they'll go. The furthest extent of their movement is the end of that yellow bubble that surrounds him. This bubble will be longer in some areas, depending on if they're marching on a road, compared to if they are walking across wilderness. You can also go by boat, and you can actually make this further by using different stances. So if I were to forced march, as you can see, I can march much further now. This dashed white line is where the original extent of my army's unit movement was. I can now move all the way out to here. However, this stance has some consequences. I can't recruit any troops. If I'm in battle, my units are tired. If I'm attacked, retreat is not possible, and if I lose the battle, my army will be wiped out because they can't run anywhere. And I can't actually initiate any battles. The next stance that is available is ambush. Ambush hides your army on the battlefield, and if any enemy units walk in your sphere of control, the sphere of control is the red circle that surrounds my army. So if they walk into there, I have a chance of ambushing them. Ambushing them gives you a tactical advantage on the battlefield, and gives you a better chance of winning any battles, because you can actually surround the enemy right at the beginning. You can also adopt a raiding stance, so this lets you gain income if you're in enemy territory, and it'll decrease the happiness of the enemy region and the growth. So this is a good way of earning money, but as you can see, I can't move nearly as far in this stance. You can also encamp. So this stance makes you immune to attrition. It lets your units replenish with health over time, and it gives them a defensive bonus if they're attacked. But it means I cannot move. And the final stance is channeling. So the feature that is in Warhammer 2, unlike other Total War games, is that magic is present. Magic can be used on the battlefield. With powerful spells, it can aid your army and destroy enemy armies with ease. However, you are limited by your magic power reserve, and adopting this channeling stance will actually allow you to have more magical abilities on the battlefield because you have more magic in reserve. Because each battle you have a limited amount of magic that you can use, so this will help you in the long run if you have a very magic reliant army. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go over here and I'm going to fight these Empire Secessionists. So I'm going to right click on them with my army selected, and my army is going to walk over there and fight them. Here we have the pre-battle screen. So this will give us a balance of power bar. This will kind of give us a rough estimate as to the strength of our army compared to the enemy army. Our strength is represented by the yellow in the bar. The enemy is in red. The dashed line in between represents that there's a little bit of give and take there, and it could go either way. So they have roughly about a 25% chance of winning the battle if I were to auto-resolve. Sometimes this bar can be really accurate. Sometimes it can be very inaccurate. And this is one of those times where it's very inaccurate. My troops, we look like we have the same number of troops almost. I think I outnumber them by a little bit. But I could easily defeat their army. And I'm actually going to fight the battle on the battlefield for this match. So you can fight the battle manually if you click this button here. You can auto-resolve with this, which is where the AI just automatically resolves the battle for you. Or you can retreat. So you can retreat if you've been attacked and you feel like you can't win. However, you have to be careful about retreating, because if you retreat and then you get attacked again, you cannot retreat a second time. And if you lose that second battle, your army gets wiped out because they have nowhere else to go. So let's fight this battle. So this screen here, it gives you helpful tips about the game itself. You can scroll through them and it tells you all the different abilities units have and aspects of the game. And you also get a topographical map of the battlefield. The lighter colors being higher elevation, the darker colors being lower. You can see some trees, which is the green specks, and these black specks are rocks that are impassable. So here is the battlefield. You can see all your troops and all the enemy troops. Your zone of deployment is anywhere in this yellow circle, or I guess square, rectangle, and the enemy is in the red rectangle. However, we can see where their army has been positioned. So we get to move our troops however we want. Your hero, their leader, is this icon here. They have a star on them. They are a single unit all by themselves. These are very powerful units on the battlefield and can be used to great effect. Leaders and mages will have spells and abilities. Abilities are located on the bottom left, such as the Reickland Runefang, whereas magical abilities are on the bottom right. He has no magical abilities yet, so he doesn't have anything available down there. Units have two or three bars on them. As you can see, my ranged units have 3, whereas my melee units have 2. The green and white bar, the green is the unit's health, and the white is the unit's morale, or leadership. The brown is ammunition. So ammunition is only present on ranged units. The green bar is their health, so as I said, if it goes all the way down, that means you're losing troops, or your unit is being hurt. So for example, I only have 1 unit in this for my leader, but if the bar goes down, that means his health is going down. Whereas my halberdiers here, I have 120 men, so I could be losing a bunch of men, and the rest can be getting hurt. A ranged unit has a yellow cone that comes out of the front of them. So this is the unit's range and where they're basically where they're aiming. So they can shoot any units that cross this triangle. Different units will have different range, as can be seen here. This is the extent of the handgunners. That is the extent of the crossbowmen. So the crossbowmen slightly outrange the handgunners. Different ranged units also have different arcs of fire. So for example, a gun shoots from point A to point B in a straight line. There's no movement for it. Whereas a crossbow or a bow, they can arc their shots. So they can shoot over enemy units or your own units to hit someone in the back rows, which is a very handy ability. But guns, however, have great armor piercing, and they have a very strong shot compared to a crossbow. So different ranged units, you have to use them differently. Another important feature of the battlefield is taking advantage of terrain. So for example, I have a hill here, which I can use to my advantage. I can take the top of the hill and defend it, which gives my units better fighting ability. I can also use the hill to hide units from the enemy forces, which is what I'm going to do here. They can't see my cavalry, so they don't know it's there. And I'm going to hopefully ambush them with it. Let's set up a formation. So if you select units, you can then click the group button, and then you can lock the formation. This means that my units are now forever in that formation until I unlock them. This can be very useful for quickly moving units around the map if you want to keep them in a set formation, which is what I'm going to do. In the top right of the screen here, once we start the battle, we'll actually have time manipulation, so we can actually pause the game, put it in slow motion, play at normal speed, or fast forward. This will allow us, if we have a lot going on, we can pause the game to move or to give orders to our units, and then play it, and they will carry out those orders. Let's begin the battle. So I'm going to move my troops over here. Because my gunmen, I need them to be able to shoot straight down the hill at the enemy, because their bullets do not arc. So I need them to have a clear line of sight with the enemy forces. Cavalry can stay up here for now. I want them out of sight. And I actually want my archers to shoot their archers. Same with my gunmen. Because if I can take out their archers now, that means that they won't be able to shoot me as much as I will be able to shoot them, which is always a good thing. Okay. I actually want the halberdiers on the left. Let's begin shooting at them. Buff our troops. And I'm going to use my cavalry to flank the enemy and hit them in the back. Right there. Attacking units in the back lets you do more damage to them, as well as hurting their morale, which is always a good thing in the battle. So you can see their morale is just plummeting because they're getting attacked from two directions. I'll pause quickly. You can see this unit had run away, but it's now actually rallied. When a unit runs from battle, it can actually gain its morale back if they're not completely shattered, and they can return to fight some more. A unit that's shattered, however, will not return to battle, and it just runs until it's off the battlefield. Now we're just going to hopefully break the rest of this army. Just win the battle. There we go. All of these units are now running away. And let's see if we can finish them. There we go. So, victory is assured. Let's just use our cavalry to run them down, and we'll use our ranged units to shoot at these guys some more. There we go. And let's just get a few more shots. And we can fast forward. Don't need to go through this at a slow pace. I just want to take out these archers, and then we'll end the battle. Because there's no point in letting these guys get away to fight some more. Let's just attack these spearmen quickly as well. The reason I'm not using my infantry to chase down enemy is because they won't be able to catch them. There's no point. They're going to run at the same speed. And there we go. Decisive victory. So I ended up losing 20 guys, and I killed or captured 385. As you can see, that balance of power bar at the very beginning of the battle was a little bit deceptive, and making me think that I had a chance of losing a lot of guys in this battle. And you can see on the left here which of your units actually did the most damage in the battle. So you can see my spearmen only killed 2 people, whereas my cavalry did 136. My emperor surprisingly killed nobody, but that was because he was attacking their leader and made their leader run, which was very important. So now I have an opportunity ahead of me. Now that I've won the battle, I have 3 options available. I can pardon captives. This gives me a small treasury boost and some income, but it makes my units a little bit sad that I'm letting enemy go free. So they actually replenish at a slower rate, so they replenish their losses slower. I could execute the captives. This gives me a leadership bonus for 5 turns, and lets my units fight better. Or I can take captives on to replace the units that I lost in the battle. And I'm actually going to use this right now because I want to do another battle right after this, and I want to replenish the losses that my halberdiers suffered. So we'll take on some captives. So their unit lost the battle and ran away. So over here. Missions, as you can see, I just completed one. They are tasks that appear from time to time, and you have to complete the objectives in order to gain the rewards. So for example, the mission I just beat was to defeat an army belonging to this faction. Because I did it, I gain $1,000, and I get prestige for winning. You can gain followers, items, and armor for your lords or your agents to use. And for example, my lord just gained a militiaman, which allows him to recruit an extra infantry unit per turn. I also gained a weapon, the Sword of Swift Slaying, which gives my lord armor-piercing damage +10 and melee attack of +4. And I was given another mission. So this mission is to take Grunberg. So this gives me $1,000 and Imperial Authority. So another consequence of fighting and winning the battle was my lord leveled up. Leveling up gives your lord more abilities both on the battlefield and off the battlefield. There are 3 different trees that you can go down for skills. The bottom one, the blue, is campaign-based, campaign map. So it makes them move farther, improves public order, makes your populace happier, makes your army replenish losses faster, and other abilities like that. The red is to improve your army's effectiveness. So this, for example, improves the melee defense of your spearmen and swordsmen. It can make your horses faster and stronger, your ranged units faster and stronger, and so on and so forth. You can go down the yellow bar here, which makes your lord a better fighter. So in a battle, he will have more health, he will have more armor, he will have more attack, and it just makes him that much more powerful. And sometimes a lord will have a 4th tree, skill tree, which is a special tree for them alone. So because mine's the Emperor, he actually has a tree here, which does a combination of all these other trees. So it makes the lord better on the campaign map, it makes the units stronger, and it makes my lord stronger in battles. You can also get mounts and special armor for your lord, located at the very top here. So I can get like a war horse when he's rank 4, or a barbed war horse, or a Pegasus, or a Griffin. I actually don't want any of these 3. I want to immediately go for the Deathclaw Griffin once it's available when I'm rank 16. So the first skill that I always go for personally is Route Marcher, because it allows my lord to walk 10% farther on the campaign map, which is extremely useful. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attack Grunberg, because it's easily undefended. They have basic garrison and a very weak army surrounding them. So I'm just going to auto-resolve this because there's no point in me fighting it. I'm sure I could have taken less casualties if I had fought it personally, but I saw no need in fighting it because I'm going to be replenishing my losses when I am in that city. Once you take a city, you actually have 4 options available to you. You can occupy the city, which means that your troops just go in and you occupy it and you don't do anything negative to the populace. It still makes a little bit of public unrest just because it's a change in government. Or you can loot and occupy it, which means you gain a little bit of income, you replenish some troop losses, but the populace is very unhappy with you. And it also damages some of the buildings inside. You could sack the building, which damages all the buildings inside. It makes the populace unhappy, but you take the money and you leave. So the enemy would still actually control the city. Sometimes this is useful to do if it's a city far away from your borders and you have no need to control it, and if it gives you a lot of money. Because sometimes you can get up to $40,000 or $50,000 from sacking one city. So sometimes it can be worth it. You can also raise a city, so this destroys it, and it makes ruins in its place. You can, either you or an AI can then basically resettle that province at the cost of both money and manpower. So your army will actually be severely weakened because the soldiers basically settle down in that region. I'm just going to occupy it because I don't want to damage it, and it's a part of my main province. There we go. And these pop-ups just tell you about lords that have either wounded or killed in battle. And I succeeded in another mission. And I was given another mission to do. So sometimes a mission requires you to fight a specific army that's already been preset. So this army, for example, has 3 spearmen, 2 swordsmen, a crossbowman, and artillery. This army actually I think is a little bit too powerful for me to fight right now. So I'm not going to do it right now. I don't have a time limit to complete it, so I can take my time, build up an army that would be able to succeed, and then go fight it. So for right now, I'm just going to wait. And I was given another objective to do, which is to loot, occupy, raise, or sack 4 different settlements. And once that's complete, I'll get another $2,000. And by winning another battle, my lord has leveled up again. I'm actually going to make him harder to fight. So I'm going to improve his melee defense. For research, I actually want to research Emissary to the Prince of Altdorf, because I want to improve my diplomatic relations and public order with my own provinces. So I'm going to research that, and I'm going to recruit 2 units of spearmen in my army. Yeah, I can't afford the swordsmen. So I'll get 2 more spearmen in my army, and then I will end my turn. And that is a rough, quick explanation of how to play a Total War game and what Total War is all about. I hope you enjoyed it, and if so, please leave a like and comment. And also, please watch the rest of my playthrough, which I'll be doing of this Empire game, where I'm hopefully going to reunite the entire Empire, and hopefully the rest of the world, if luck goes my way. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!